Okay, let's move on then to the financial reports. Thank you, Mandy and Jordan, for letting me go first.
Did have before you the statement of assets, liabilities, and equity as of January 31st. You'll see the bank accounts total $953,424.12, and the owed to the DFA for sales tax $489. Turn to the next page, you'll see the January financials for A&P, profit and loss statement, I should say, for A&P. Total income of $15,385.44 versus expenses of $7,834.49 for a net income of $7,550.95. Since this is the first and only month of the year, there is no year-to-date report. So we'll turn to the next page to the Event Center's P&L. Total revenue of $53,600.97. Expenses of $44,732.61 for a net income of $8,868.36. And then my last page is the focus group P&L for the month of January. Revenue in of $15,633.61. So to date, for the month of January, it was a total net income among three components of $32,052.92.
Okay, any questions for Jordan? Okay, let's move on to Mandy on the bank balances and collections report.
Yes, for the bank account collections report, you'll be able to see that the A&P Collections General closed out with $2,874.52. Again, that's where all of our collections are received, and then it is a clearing account to where it's split out into its percentages as you'll list in the next paragraph. 50% goes to the large project checking, 20% goes to small project checking, 10% to general operating checking, 10% to the focus group, and 10% to the general operating checking for the event center. As you'll see, those have nice balances. A&P large project checking is at $1,732,745.13. Small project checking, $391,175.01. General operating checking is at $64,157.95. And the Benton focus group checking is $212,923.94. The event center checking is at $438,334.34. And the savings account is at $239,729.44. The increases from when we went out to bid for the bank accounts, those did go into effect in January, so you do see those increases in the interest is included in those amounts. And it wasn't a nice substantial increase in those. You'll go over a couple of pages. You'll see our collections report, and so these were December receipts that were received in January. They're not delinquent until February 2nd. And overall, that's $155,553.56, and that is almost a 1% increase over last year. So not great, but it is an increase over the previous years. I did go ahead down below, and you'll be able to see the growth from 22 to 21, and the growth from 21 to 20, the growth over 19. So you've got several years of data there for each month. And I think that that'll be good for you guys to be able to see going forward. It's really hard with the COVID year to be able to compare that to anything. So I tried to go out, if you get 5 years worth of collections to be able to kind of compare with, you can kind of see what the state of the market really is. And then as far as delinquencies is concerned, I do have several. Right now there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are 9 delinquencies. There are a couple that are several months past due. What I'd like to do on those is send out our code enforcement person to be able to go try to collect those funds. from those that are several, and then, if he cannot collect those funds before next meeting, I think we should talk about revoking the permit on those businesses.
Any questions for me?
How far out do they have to be, and how, what are the notification processes? Just
Sure, and that's a great question. So, again, let's say the December collections, they're due, we're supposed to receive them in January. They pay by the 20th of January, then they get a 2% discount. If they're not actually delinquent until February 2nd.
so from December to February 2nd, now this is the point where we send out.
Correct.
Got it.
So by February 10th, we start calling, starting about
So
February.
calling, email, whatever form of
February-
notification we have.
Yeah, February 1st, February 2nd is when there's a person in my office, Janice, and she'll call every one of the businesses to
Yeah.
say, hey,
Yeah.
we haven't received your payment,
Yeah.
Is there any way you could get it in by the
Yeah.
10th? After the 10th, then we put it in the paper. We do still try to keep contact with them throughout the rest of the month. And they do get a letter. So
Sure.
they not only get a phone call, but then they're gonna get a letter, and then it gets posted in the paper. Most of the time, those people will true up, and I say most of the time they will. We have several repeat offenders that they'll get about 2
I mean,
months behind.
I've seen it slip before myself. It's not,
Yeah.
you know, it happens to good people.
Yeah, they'll get about 2 months behind, and then they'll catch up those 2 months,
Yeah.
and then they'll go back a month behind, 2 months behind, and the same thing will happen.
Right.
But,
Okay, I was just, you know, if we're sending people out, I just thought, you know, what's the process?
our process is normally first we call, second we send a letter, then we put it in the paper, then we start it all over again. We don't normally send someone out for the collections process
Thank you for explaining that.
until you get to, I would say about your 3-month late mark.
Yeah.
We don't do it for the first month or second month. It's,
I think it's a great policy.
it's,
Awesome.
we do try to stay on top of it.
Of course.
Thank you, that's good for all of us to hear that too. Thank you, Ms. Okay, so then we're gonna move on to the last part of the financial reports, would be the 2023 budget. Our budget committee met over several weeks over the past month and come up with the budget, which is the one document in there. It's 3 pages. And I'll turn that over to Jordan.
Okay, you should find that behind my report and just before Mandy's report. You see 2023 budgets, 3 columns there, focus group, Benton A&P Commission, Benton Event Center. Everybody good?
Not yet.
This looks like this. There you go.
All right, so we'll, going from left to right, you see they get a little more complex. We'll start with the easy ones first. See the Benton Focus Group. The only change to its, well, I say change, for each of the 3, for sales tax revenue, we predicted it or budgeted as flat from 2022. We expect that to be above 2022, but we were presenting what I'd call a conservative budget, in that we have our revenues flat and our expenses as near to reality as we can anticipate them being. So just to hear me say, sales tax revenue, and just the event center, the revenue for its operations, other than interest income, is flat year to year. So starting now with the focus group, the far left column, we do make an adjustment to interest income based on the balance in the account and the rate that we have been proposed and given by Banco ZK. So that is an increase, but then the sales tax revenue matches 2022 sales tax revenue. So we're budgeting $186,988.91 to be received into the focus group funds for the year. The middle column is the A&P Commission's side of things. Again, interest income based on its balance and the rate we were given, looking at interest of $1,380, and the sales tax revenue again flat from 2022. And then the expenses, you see line item by item. So the inflows, $185,069, outflows of $171,000, roughly $800, for a net income of $13,269.04. So I'll pause for a moment there, since it's got a few more lines to let you review that. If there are no questions regarding that particular budget, we'll move to the event center's budget. Again, interest income, we have adjusted for the new rate and the based on the balance of the accounts that are held by the event center. You see the next, the alcohol sales, beer and wine, alcohol sales, mixed drinks, the sales revenue, which are the rental charges, and the sales tax revenue are flat. And then the refunds returns is I believe a refund that's already been processed. Hopefully we won't see any more of those, but that's actually one that's already taken place. So year to year, other than interest and the refunds, the other revenue figures are the 2022 actual figure. So total revenue in of $646,725 is expected. And then you see the line item expenses. And I'll pause there and let you see line by line. Those do total $478,932. Income less expenses, net income of $167,793.
George, you might want to touch on that repairs and maintenance.
Okay.
Yeah,
And maybe utilities too.
Okay, so the repairs line, we had Nikki create a list of projects to get everything up to snuff for a 10-year celebration. This will be the 10-year mark later this fall, and so all the things that would get it, the event center into pristine condition, and those were all budgeted in that line item, repairs and maintenance, $65,118. The only thing that is not included in that line item to date is the security camera installation that the whole city is installing, and the event center share is, I believe, $95,000. And so that'll be a capital expenditure. It's not included here in the budget, but that repairs and maintenance item, $65,000, includes a multitude of projects that will improve the appearance, the operations of the event center, and make it look really, really sharp. It looks great for a 10-year facility, but it'll just make it look in pristine condition when we look to have some sort of celebration at the 10-year mark in September, October. In regards to utilities, we spoke with utilities, and they said it'd be roughly 10 to 11% increase, and so we budgeted for that 11% increase in the utilities line item. So those are two biggies that we want to point out to you, and thank y'all for mentioning that.
Any questions for Jordan? Okay, so I think we're gonna need two motions here. The first one to accept the financial reports, and then the second one to accept our 2023 budget.
Make a motion, we accept the financial report.
Second.
Okay, all in favor of accepting the financial report? Any opposed? Thank you. Okay, let's move on to the budget.
I'll make that a motion, we accept our 2023 budget.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Jordan. Thank you, Mandy. Okay, let's move on to the funding request. This is the, I believe, this is the second reading on Royal? First reading for the Royal Players. And it's in your booklet there. Of course, for advertising. They're requesting $12,860, $7,960 for advertising, and $4,900 for the print materials for 8 events throughout the year. I'm gonna kind of break it down. 8 events. They have 8 events, and a breakdown of what they're requesting on that. So once again, this is the first reading. We will have a second read. Next month we would vote on this. Is anyone here from the Royal that could discuss that?
Could we know how much they got last year, Amy?
Amy, did the Royal receive some funding last year? I'm trying to recall.
In 2022, they requested $2,895, and y'all approved that amount, and that amount has been paid over several months, totaling $2,895.
If I remember correctly, that was late in the year.
They requested it, I think, in maybe September,
Okay.
so it was only for maybe 3 of their events, including the haunted house.
Thank you, Amy.
And then they have 8 events, it's almost half of 8 events, but it's 5 times.
Yeah, it looks like they basically took the 3 events from the end of the year last year, broke down the expense per event, and applied that to 8 events that they expect to do
But
2023. Does that make
3
sense?
is nearly half of
Well,
8.
Well, no. The full amount they're asking for is 12,860. So you've got for the 7,960 for advertising, you got 4,900. That is for the additional print. So what they've done is, I mean, you're looking at, it's roughly, shy of the $3,000 mark. So it's shy, $1,000 per event towards the end of last year is what it was roughly. So they look like they took that and applied it to all the events, and then added the extra in. So that's a big jump.
But it shows us how much what it cost them a year, so that's 63 right there, what it cost them a year, so the 12,000 to help advertise for those events is a good number on what their budget is. How are they funded? I mean,
Themselves.
So
Other than requesting grants.
And sponsorships.
grants and sponsorships?
Yes.
Yeah, are they a
Ticket sales.
501(c)(3), are they a business?
I want to say.
That's a question, right?
I want to say that they are owned by individuals, the Royal Players.
Nope, they're a nonprofit.
They are a nonprofit?
Okay, well, then that's a no-brainer. That helps our community, it helps them. They can, I was just actually thinking about the Royal Theater this morning and how I would like to go there more and see more there and to see the events that are there to grow and be better and more epic, so to speak, so they would draw more and have more entertainment value. So any way we could help them, I believe that's a good thing.
And this is, like I said, new for them last year. They've tried to do a lot of their advertising on their own through their donations, sponsorships. So this, we would definitely, they came for us last year for the first time. And I think it was pretty successful.
Yeah, I think it's a small amount of money considering the return.
They did say that it helps substantially.
Could you imagine what it's gonna be with this amount?
Getting the word out.
I would like to see the increase, like what their attendees are one year, if we're gonna help them this much, and what they are the next year.
I would say that's something we need to bring to the table with
How much
us,
do we
is
have?
feedback on the sellout.
We have 40 plus, almost 12,000 left over from last year.
So we're at, what, you say almost plus 12 from last year? So we got almost 52, for the year though, that is for
For our full year.
a full year, so.
So they're running
On
last
this
year.
and all,
That's right at 20% total.
Just about, yeah.
In your packet, there's a listing of all their shows.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Is there anything else in town that provides that kind of entertainment though? There's not really though, that's the only thing that does it, right?
Our only other big event usually is Ample.
The only place you can see a show is at the movie theater, or you can go to the Royal Theater here in town, right? You
Yeah,
can't see a
there's
show
no
anywhere else.
competition with.
Chamber
There's no- Yeah,
The Burger King.
yeah, you can go to.
Yeah, has a show on.
Right, or you can see, but really, other than that, we can see like an acoustic guitar, maybe a band at a place or two, right? Here and there.
Right, yes.
But other than that, that's the only place in town that's like, hey, that's a lot for us to promote them, means a lot to our town, means a lot to them, and it brings, it's the only thing like that we have. And it's
very unique.
sustainable. Yeah, it's sustainable.
Can I say something? I don't represent them, but can I say something about that?
Yes, Shelley.
Okay.
You may.
Because I deal with them a lot.
Shelley, you want me to do the camera?
Yeah, can you come get my, they do a lot for our young people and for our youth too. They don't just put out plays and am I not on?
No,
Middle of the,
Hello, I'm Shelley Poole.
Push the
The
button again.
Royal Players, they are a nonprofit, they are a 501c3, whatever, R2D2. They have, the Royal Players are the adults, but then they also have the young players, it's kids coming up through school, and then as they turn into teenagers, they have a program that is, I think from age like 14 through college, something like that. And they do so much for these kids who, for whatever reason, they just love this, whether they're backstage and they're figuring out what happens when, whether they're acting, whether they're building stuff, painting, whether they're promoting, they're doing a lot of things. And they bring in, a lot of people too, to see this, and this is a jewel in this town. With the building, even the way it is, it needs a lot of renovations, but even the way it is, people love it and flock to it. And if they knew more about it, then they would. Raise your hand if you've been to one of their productions. Okay, if you haven't, Titanic's coming up, starts Friday.
And I'll reiterate on that they have a lot of volunteers from the community.
Yes.
That it gives another outreach, and there's so many other people outside of something like us, like an A&P commission, that just volunteer their time, efforts, and money just to help it, because there's so much they do for the community kids.
Yeah.
It's great.
And,
next door to us.
and they partner with, dance teachers and with, music teachers and people, kids from the schools and teachers from the schools get involved in this. So, there's a lot of community outreach from this one organization. And just a little background, it used to be owned by someone, and that person, I don't know if he gave it or sold it to, but they formed a board, maybe 2008 or so. I don't know if anyone here knows. It was Jerry Van Dyke.
It's right around that time. It's
but-
right around when we opened it happened.
Yeah, it was really close to that time. So then it turned into a nonprofit, and they occasionally will do other things there besides musicals and plays, like a haunted house, or, sometimes a political forum, or sometimes, whatever, somebody was having a film festival there. So you just never know, but it's a beautiful building, and, I just wanted to speak for them since they didn't have a representative here.
Thanks, Shelley.
Well, thank you, Shelley. Yeah, anyone that's attended one of the performances is it's very impressive. Okay, so we will take that up, for the vote and then further discussion at the next meeting. So, it'd be nice maybe if somebody from the role play might
I bet
come.
Daphne would come up here.
I'll reach out to them again.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to, Nikki Chumley, the report from the Benton Event Center.
Okay, so, we ended last month with $764,302. Over the last month, we had 11 events, but we had a strong number of a little over 6,800. Just a few to kind of call out. We had the AACIA conference, which is part of the Department of Education, the Association of Educational Administrators. They have already booked probably at least 4 other conferences with me, so they're kind of repeat renters for us. So then we brought back again the JA fundraiser, which had around 300 people a couple weekends ago. And as soon as they got out, we rolled right into a very strong number for Duck Duck Goose. There were a little over 4,700 people, and they came to the door, and that includes, that's in the middle of all the ice.
Yes.
So we worked with Cindy and Randy and Kristen to make sure that, we could adjust. They adjusted some of their hours, changed some of their sale dates from, full price to half price and all that. So we enjoyed, we work with them to make sure that they're, we're kind of meeting their needs, and it's not, it's not changing up anything for us. They're still running the building for the same amount of time, so. Another one that I want to go back to that I really enjoy having, because I think it's always important to have groups that are local. We focus a lot sometimes on bringing people in, but we had the Benton High School football banquet. So it was great to have those gentlemen and all of their families and, and guests, and get to see them, be rewarded for a good, for a good football season. So, so we ended, our total right now is $771,107. So, anybody have any questions? I did. I'm about half pack.
Okay, thank you, Nikki. Going into old business, we got a few things here. We'll start off with compensation for commissioners, and Steve, your name is listed there, so I guess you can talk about that.
Good thing I prepared then. In the, January meeting of the, Benton, City Council, based on the recommendation from the board coming out of the December, A&B meeting to request, compensation, as had been discussed for the commissioners, that request was approved, and, went into effect, through ordinance 1 of 2023, so, my understanding of the compensation, if memory serves correct, and I apologize, it's, there it is, $150 a month for each, major session. So, Mandy, do you wanna talk about how they will be compensated?
Yes, so the liaison will create a sign-in sheet, which would probably come from Amy's minutes. And then that gets passed on to me, so we will be reaching out to each of you guys for you to fill out one of our vendor application forms to get us the W-9, all that stuff, because you'll essentially be a 1099 employee, and then we'll pay you, after the regularly scheduled meeting.
There's also some additional training, I believe, that the commissioners will need to.
Yes, there'll be training. I'm not sure when that'll be scheduled, and I'm not sure who will actually be doing that. I would assume the city attorney has some of that information.
What is the training?
I'm not sure. I don't know.
So I
Details
believe.
on the training?
Do what?
Do you have any details on the training, what the training is?
If you look in ordinance 1, it's the last page in the packet, there's in section 1, in number 1 of section 1, there's a brief description of the training, but I'm sure there'll be more, details fleshed out over the next couple months.
Got it.
As a responsibility of the commissioners, we will be laying some groundwork also as far as the requirements to attend in full any the scheduled meetings. Can't come in late.
10 minutes early today.
And
Make
stay.
up for 30 minutes late.
And stay for be part of the full meeting agenda. So that along with the required training from the city, which.
You can't just show up and then bail out 10 minutes in.
That's correct. We have a responsibility on that, so, but we'll get more details out on that, on requirements. Okay, moving on to the next item is the land survey. Thought we might be a little bit farther along today. I talked to Aaron Raspberry earlier today, kind of a refresher. The commission is looking at purchasing for the city around a 600-acre tract in the city, not actually in the city, we hope to be soon in the city, along the Saline River. And we are very excited about this opportunity. Aaron said his complete survey will be completed by next week. He had to get out on the river and do some stuff before the flood hit. And have that presented, and hopefully we'll have a presentation this next meeting to move forward with the opportunity. We'll present it to the commission for their consideration, and see how we go with that. But a unique opportunity for the city and the citizens for a unique piece of property that will enhance the quality of life in our city. So that would make.
How does the city's laws?
So, this 600 acres, of course, will be used for a variety of different things that we can foresee in the future. One of the things on our focus group was RV park for use by the citizens and all the travelers that come through our city on a daily basis on RV. And they'll bring commerce to our city. We'd be excited about that. Eat at our restaurants, use our RV repair dealerships, Walmart, Kroger, all of our local non-chain restaurants that we would refer people to on that. So great opportunity. Of course, that's just going to utilize just a small portion of that property. And then we can use, we'll be able to establish, the rest of it will be under development by the Parks Commission. So just a lot of opportunities, and I'll tag along on that too. Tomorrow is the ribbon cutting at Lyle Park. It's been canceled. okay, cause the river's up, I'm sure. So, okay, but anyway, this will enhance that also, so we're very, very excited about that, so. Questions?
So I was just gonna add, to your comment, this 600 acres would provide, flexibility for us from the perspective of, you know, we had purchased that other land previously, for particular use for soccer field construction. Theoretically, we could house both of the major projects identified by the focus group on this purchase and give us flexibility with that other land, potentially.
Yes, correct.
Is there any intentions of selling that land?
I think that, you know, at the end of the day, I mean, that's a good thought, at the end of the
Being
day.
we're getting
Yeah, I mean,
it all
that's
together.
why I keep saying theoretically, I mean, theoretically, if we do move forward with the purchase of this 600 acres, we could do everything that we wanted to do, that we've already identified, let me put it that way, through the focus group, and a whole lot more on this 600 acres, which would make the intent of what we purchased the other land obsolete. So that would give some options of what we wanted to do with that other property over there, whether we wanted to identify another purpose for it or potentially sell it.
Where it's located at, to me, it looks like the best ones to sell it to would be the school, being they're building a couple of them there, and it's adjacent to their property.
That's logical, for sure. I mean, obviously, you know, the school would have to see what their development plans are in that area, but, you know, from a logical perspective, that's a logical train of thought.
So being we've already committed to purchasing this 600.
Well, we have not committed on the results.
We've already voted to do it.
No, we voted to do
We
the
voted
survey.
So everything's dependent upon the
Okay.
survey.
Yeah,
Thanks to survey.
We don't wanna get the cart before the horse.
Yeah. We ain't mind that we see the survey.
We don't wanna sell the other land until we have this land in
Yeah.
contract.
Okay.
And we know for sure, you know, that we can do what we can do on the
Right,
600
yeah,
acres.
yeah, right. Or I don't wanna sell it until we know. I'd rather let me say that. I would
It's
rather
a-
not.
it's
Bird in the hand.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right.
It's very exciting, you know, there's, very few cities that have a river that goes through it, that we can develop and have for generations to come as, an area that our citizens can utilize. So, look forward to this next meeting, maybe having a lot more, final details and, stay tuned. Okay.
Exciting time in Benton.
Absolutely.
And we've already had retail strategies, once again, thanks for letting us go first on that. One piece of new business, bids for electrical work at, the Benton Event Center. Nikki, you wanna address that real quick?
Yes, okay, so part of what Jordan, was talking about the 10-year kind of refresh and all of that is, it's kind of our attention that we need to update some of the electrical outside. We've got kind of 3 different things that we're looking at is, in our sidewalks, we have some kind of in-ground lighting. There's also some post lighting that's out in it wraps around, they're in the plaza, they're out front, and then they're also in that walkway between the movie theater and us that kind of connect. What we found is a lot of those bulbs are starting to burn out. Problem is, they're not very easy to get new bulbs. Some of the lighting in the sidewalk, the ballasts have gone bad because they've gotten water in them, because the tops of them were made of like glass or plexiglass and were not very resistant, you know, if someone stepped on them. So, and then also we've got some spotlights in the plaza, and then some, also we're gonna look into some removable posts. So when we kind of started that, we kind of realized that this was probably gonna be a little bit bigger project than just having somebody come in and just replace light bulbs. So I would like to send it out for bids and get an opportunity to see how much the project is going to cost.
So the removable posts are like bollards, right, that are up front?
Yes, we have bollards around.
So you're gonna have like the removal post up front, so when you have the events, you have the food trucks or whatever out front, there's no passing through the front?
This would actually be in the plaza.
In the plaza?
Yes.
Gotcha,
Yes,
okay.
so if we had an event out there, we
Gotcha.
needed lighting, we could go put lighting out there. If we didn't need it, we could remove it.
Remove it, so it's
Yes.
safe. Gotcha, got it, cool.
So-
And my quick question is, the ones in the sidewalk, because of, you know, the issue of water and stuff, have they come out, or hopefully we can talk to somebody and make sure that they've come out with a better, more longevity product
Yes,
Yeah.
to replace that,
yes.
you know?
The original person that we talked to, they're going to retrofit them to something that we could order, or even as nice as walking over to Home Depot and getting a replacement.
Something we
rather-
guarantee it's not gonna become obsolete.
Exactly.
And have a quick turnover.
Well, and the problem has been being able to order it.
Right,
You know,
because it
those-
becomes obsolete so fast.
Exactly.
So products change.
Exactly.
So once you get to the, say, how long, 10 years in,
Right.
and so now you're 10 years in and you need these products, well, that product doesn't
Right.
already exist 10 years. I mean, things change so
Right.
fast, and
Yeah.
elements, filaments and all that stuff, you know, they're just.
Right, and the thing about it is a lot of these, I mean, like, I know we've got one kind of around on one of the side entrances from inside the plaza. It hasn't worked for a while because the part of it, you know, the top of it got broken, well, the water got in there and, you know, basically ruined
Well,
it.
we all know the lighting on the building is what accents it, that what sets it off.
Yeah,
at night.
it's
You gotta have that right.
accent lighting, you know, it'd be nice to, but, you know,
Yeah,
when you're walking out in the parking lot, you know, it's nice to have those,
yeah.
Oh,
You know.
absolutely.
It's safety, it's visual, it's everything.
yes,
It's important.
yeah.
So I guess we need a bid to,
Anyway,
okay.
So, yeah,
We need a bid in. We
yeah,
need
so
a
I'll
bid
work with Mandy and get those
Bids out.
sent out
We
for
need a-
bids.
fantastic.
So everything you need done, you're gonna go ahead and bid out, right?
Do we need a
Yes.
motion for that?
Well,
Mandy, do we
on
need a
this,
motion for that?
on this
Just-
electrical
just
project,
Just electrical only.
yeah, right now,
We'll make a motion.
One thing at a time.
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, we do need one other piece of other business. We yearly, we look at, as part of our budget committee, we looked at, it's time to move some money from the operating account back into savings. Once again, our major capital expenditures, come out of that savings account. That's the whole purpose of having the reserve. So we have a lot of retained earnings in the operating account for the event center. We just, our recommendation is to move 200,000 from the operating checking into the event center savings account. We know we're gonna have the one big, you know, last year we pulled 200,000 for the sign, and that came out of that reserve account that we have. And so, we know we're basically gonna replenish
Just put
that.
it back.
Yeah, we're gonna replenish that because we know we have a $95,000, what's that? The security cameras.
We're part of the, citywide, security camera
So it's all
system that
connected
they're
for the
called.
cops and all that.
Thanks, Mandy.
So we always, that was the purpose of setting up that savings, to have the reserve account for these major capital expenditures. So we would like to have a motion, to move 200,000 from the checking account into the savings account. It's kind of a clerical thing, but.
I'll make that a motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Okay, anybody else have any other business?
I'll just say no, yes.
Okay, do we have a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion, we adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Adjourn.